Well, it started with talking to Geordie Albiston, the poet, and I've worked with Geordie on a couple of other occasions, and I really like her writing. She's a great poet, and my experience with her in the past has been a suggestion. Geordie, what about if you write a poem on this? And it was like that. The Ariadne myth, and we were talking about it. And of course, then you get a whole set of poems rather than just a poem. So I sort of was a bit cheeky. I knew that if it sparked something for Geordie, a lot of good would come forth, and it did. That Ariadne myth has been something which has been hanging around in my head for a long time. Like when I was, almost when I was still a student back in the 80s. So it's still, in a way, it was great to be able to, it's almost like it was be able to finish off that big journey. I'm inspired primarily by literature. It's always been a strong part of what I do. The written word, the idea of writing fiction, non-fiction, it's so core to what I think about. Mythologies, if I get down to it, it's the concept of mythology and art being informed by mythology. Very classical idea, but it's so strong for me. Monteverdi is one of my models. I'm a fan. I went to the Chiesa di Frari in Venice to see where he worked, and the Vespers of 1610. I've got that under my pillow, not quite, but. So then hearing about this fragment, so like a bit of sort of creative archaeology, this is the only bit left of this aria. I said, oh, this would be great to write the rest of it. But not as a musicological exercise, as a creative exploration. And the myth spoke to me so strongly. It's one of those key myths in European mythology, that changeover from, the changeover from matriarchal to patriarchal. Daedalus and Icarus are involved there, which is about the ingenuity of man. It's this idea of the sort of the beast versus civilization. So it's all this really strong threads in there. So it, pardon the pun, recording new music is absolutely essential to our musical health, because if we don't have it recorded, especially with the loss of the old music literacy, the former music literacy, where a performer such as Halcyon could take a score and not only read the notes, but actually understand the significance of how it's done, style, interpret it, where the boundaries of interpretation and performance lie, is so important. And it's ebbing away. It's changing. Music literacy changed, I think, 20 years ago. And there's this assumption that type of music making somehow is lesser because it's old style, and now everybody's using technology, and the technological tools make a whole lot of other things simpler. What we need to keep capturing is that expertise around interpretation and performance. One of the really exciting parts about working with Halcyon was that I know you all as singers, both as individuals and the characteristics of you as singers, and also when you've worked with different groups in your professional lives. So writing for Halcyon wasn't writing for 4 female voices, it was writing for the 4 of you and all the characteristics that come with it. And even to the point where some of you would say, oh, that note for me doesn't really work, or that, and that's valid. It's not a case where, like, you're writing for piano and that key doesn't work, and you say, we'll get it repaired. It's for a singer, that for me, that's part of their voice. That's part of who they are as a singer. So if that note doesn't work, then you don't use that note, and you actually write for those characteristics. And I tried to draw out the different qualities from you all in the way I wrote and assembled it, and who got solo bits when was deliberate, because writing it I imagined not just the notes, but I imagined the sound of each of you. I also took the position that I didn't know if some of these things would have worked, and took a risk. And when we were rehearsing, because I trusted you as you four as an ensemble, the five of you as an ensemble, I'm happy. I'd take that risk. It's different to a context where you say you might be working commercially, do an arrangement. It's got to be general, bog standard writing because you don't know who the people are. But what the value is that when working with you guys is you're prepared to take a risk too. And you're prepared to say, well, I don't think that worked. Or what are you trying to do? What are we trying to achieve? And then you open yourself also to serendipity, that something which I wasn't expecting, and you get feedback from the performer and say, well, if you try it like this, or we do it like this, or sometimes they just misinterpret it, and you go, hang on, okay, we'll go with that one. And that's a real collaboration. So it goes back to this idea that piece isn't written just because the notes are there. Piece's written once it's been rehearsed, and it gets to that collaborative finish with the performers and writer, composer working together.